Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. Today I want to talk about a recent Huffington Post article that has recently come out that struck me as sort of a hit piece on basically the study of UFOs and aliens in general. Now, knowing all of the evidence and the stories and the eyewitness testimony from the former Apollo astronauts to the former NASA photograph techs who spoke about blurring objects out of NASA photos of the moon and here on Earth, to former military personnel who've spoken about what they've seen in the back-engineered craft that they have witnessed, and just everything we've documented to you guys on this channel that has suddenly been called into question and has been done so by none other than astronaut Tom Jones, who is a veteran NASA astronaut who has been included in various shuttle and International Space Station missions, who basically, in this article, stated, and the headline was, astronaut Tom Jones, quote, used to be a UFO fan, a big UFO fan, but not anymore. So automatically, the title alone, I don't know, it just screams deliberate, anti-UFO, anti-ufology research hit piece. Especially with all of the ISS footage that we've been putting out lately, which has gone viral and been featured internationally in almost every major news outlet there is. And all of a sudden, all of these extra eyeballs are watching this channel and just watching UFO and alien research in general. And it's getting a lot of momentum behind it. And, it's more momentum than it's likely ever had before. So this article suddenly comes out, and Mr. Jones is quoted as saying that I used to be a big UFO fan when I was a teenager. Now, UFO fan, I don't really know what that means, but I was a big UFO fan when I was a teenager, thinking that this was the next great frontier of exploration. Now, there's some nice foreshadowing here. I mean, just from that statement alone, you can tell the article's gonna go downhill pretty quick in regards to this very serious research that we're doing here. But I digress. He said in a recent interview with the Huffington Post, quote, I dropped that opinion, of being a fan of UFOs, that is. I dropped that opinion later on, after not seeing the evidence that I was looking for. Really? Well, do continue, Mr. Jones. And he did, of course. In his Smithsonian Air and Space magazine column, Ask the Astronaut, Jones answered a recent question about whether he or other astronauts had ever seen UFOs from orbit. He wrote, and I quote, astronauts have not seen any evidence of alien life. Reports of unidentified flying objects and images returned from the shuttle or space station have turned out to be ice crystals, drifting orbital debris, lightning flashes, or meteors streaking through the dark atmosphere below. So far, our search for extraterrestrial life and other civilizations in space has turned up no proof of alien civilizations. Wow. What a statement to make from one of NASA's poster boys. Well, now I really believe it. There must not be any UFOs or aliens out there. I guess we can just shut the channel down and just give up this research. Seeing as that this space shuttle astronaut has cleared all this up for us, and that all of the craft and sightings and abduction experiences and former military testimony is all hogwash and can be boiled down to, quote, once again, ice crystals, drifting orbital debris, lightning flashes, or meteors. So, yeah, I guess it's case closed. And as to his quote about, well, so far our search for extraterrestrial life and other civilizations in space has turned up no proof of alien civilizations. What are you talking about, Tom? You're not out there searching for alien civilizations. You worked on the space shuttle. You orbited Earth. I never heard anything about you searching for extraterrestrial civilizations, so why are you speaking on it? You obviously have no idea what you're talking about. You obviously haven't really done the research, because if you had, you wouldn't make such a bold statement as this, basically slapping all of us out here who do this research every day and witnesses who have seen things that were not ice crystals and were not meteors streaking across the sky, or weather balloons, or swamp gas reflected off of Venus. I mean, this sounds like a total hatchet piece written by NASA themselves coming through the mouth of an official NASA astronaut. So he goes on in the article to talk about the STS-80 mission, which we've covered in the past, which features some of the best footage of craft above Earth, and once again states that it was nothing but ice crystals, and that everyone on Earth who watched this footage are basically lunatics who don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're seeing. Yeah, we're all just a bunch of children. He further went on to say that no contemporary astronaut has ever told him of seeing something unexplained or inexplicable. Certainly nothing in the way of spaceships, he added. He then went on to target other astronauts who have come out and said that we are being visited, that we do have back-engineered craft, that there have been ships seen over military bases. And so he targets them as well, saying that, quote, "Now, I am aware that there have been a couple astronauts in the past who've spoken out and said that they know from other people that there's evidence of UFOs and spaceships that have visited the Earth and that the government might be withholding it." He went on to say, "They all seem to be secondhand, or seem to be sightings of things that they've seen in orbit that they perhaps couldn't explain at the time, and that's where the story seems to peter out." So not only is he saying that he's not a fan of UFOs anymore, and basically stating clearly and out loud that it's useless research and that UFOs and aliens don't exist, he's also targeting other astronauts who have much more experience even than him, such as the late Gordon Cooper, who was one of the famous Right Stuff space voyagers, and is now trying to say that what those astronauts saw who have come out was also nothing. So apparently, Mr. Jones can sit here and, not having seen what these other astronauts have talked about, not having been there, but nonetheless, he can still dismiss what these other astronauts saw, who are just as good, if not better and smarter than he is, and is basically insulting them for what they've come out and talked about. But because he is saying that he's not a fan of UFOs, I guess any other astronaut or military personnel or former NASA engineers, I guess they are all also just looking at ice crystals, and that everything they've said is wrong and he is right, and that it's nothing to worry about. Where have I heard that before? How many times have we heard this? Since when did Mr. Jones become the authority on whether UFOs and aliens exist? We already know the answer to that, Tom. And I think it's pretty bold for you to come out and say that aliens don't exist, and that everything any other person has witnessed can be chalked up to natural occurrences, and that anything that your fellow astronauts have spoken about was basically just their misunderstanding of what they were seeing, when you weren't even there to begin with, and now you're going to call into question their integrity about what they saw? So, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little just heated here, because it's just, this whole article, it seems very, again, like I said, deliberate. It seems like it was written by some, NASA pencil pusher, deliberately put out here, when our channel and all of the videos that people have found and anomalies and amazing sightings that have come out lately are finally gaining momentum. And then we're going to have an official, what's more devastating to the UFO research cause than to have an official, well-known astronaut come out and talk about how much of a big UFO fan he used to be, but now he's not anymore? And that basically aliens and UFOs don't exist? And now he's speaking for other people that he doesn't even know and telling us that they didn't know what they were seeing? So, again, this just doesn't smell right. Sounds like one of these hit pieces. It's been done before. Who knows how much this Tom Jones is being paid. It's not the first time we've seen an astronaut come out. And you know what? As far as astronauts talking about UFOs, you know what? We already know, and we've already heard from other astronauts, Tom, that that you're told by NASA not to speak publicly about UFOs. So obviously you are not going to come out on a Huffington Post article and all of a sudden tell us what you've seen up in space, because we both know that you've been instructed not to make public what you've seen during your shuttle missions, nor the Apollo astronauts. So this whole statement about him never having heard from another astronaut that there have been UFOs up there, take that with a grain of salt. I mean, just from his very first comment about not being a fan of UFOs anymore, I mean, that just discredits the entire rest of the article. And I really don't care of anything else he has to say, because I know what I've seen. I know what my people and fans have seen. I've done hundreds of videos on this subject, and this isn't some big joke. It's not a joke, and we're not all just misunderstood, all of the millions of us out there who know what we've seen. And sure, there are UFO sightings that can be chalked up to natural occurrences, but don't you dare try to sit there and say that 100% of them are natural, that all of its ice crystals are meteors. When people have been abducted before, we have physical evidence, we have video evidence. We just posted a video yesterday of an amazing sighting showing a craft flying through space orbiting Earth, sent to us from Gene Coleman and Thomas Sanger, of this blue flashing object orbiting Earth. That just today I got an email from Tom disproving the possibility that it was either the ISS or an iridium flare. It's neither. So we're getting evidence, and this whole research field of study is gaining momentum, and nobody's going to stop it. No one. There's too many people who are studying it now, who are following our channel, who are sharing our videos, and it's not going to stop. So you're going to have to come forth with a hell of a lot more than just having an astronaut come out and tell us how much he's no longer a fan of UFOs. Well, you know what? I'm no longer a fan of astronauts who would come out and make bold statements like this. So there's that. So let me know what you guys think. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and I'm out of here.